In 2020, a little over 10,200 video game titles were released across PC and consoles across the world. I've been playing video games for a long time now, and it was only until recently I realized how much goes into the process of making small and large game titles. All video games go through a pretty general form of development, but after months of hard work and dedication, the developer determines an appropriate release date for the launch of the new title. On paper, this sounds pretty easy. The developer gauges how much time they think the release will take, and boom, a release date is set. Unfortunately, things aren't always that perfect. There are hundreds of reasons why a game might not be ready by the time the release date comes around. When this happens, the development company goes into something called crunching. Today, I will be talking about crunching and how it affects the game development industry. Crunch is basically unpaid overtime where the staff is forced to work excruciatingly long hours for no pay. Crunch affects all kinds of video game development studios, from AAA studios such as Ubisoft, Rockstar, Naughty Dog, all the way down to the independent studios. When it comes to crunching, it can take as little as 2 weeks or as long as several months. I'd like to highlight several reasons why crunch culture happens as often as it does. But the simple answer is due to the lack of time. When a video game development company crunches, it is often because of new features or game changes that cannot be supported due to the budget constraints. Underperforming and promising too much work in order to create a game, and large or unexpected issues. If you play video games, you may have heard of some recent titles that have gone under fire for crunching. Games like The Last of Us Part 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, here we go, great game. BioWare's Anthem, another good game that was unfortunately delayed because of crunching. And lastly, Cyberpunk 2077. Every title listed experienced some form of crunch. The most common response to this is to the delay of the game's release. From popular gaming news website Polygon, journalist Charlie Hill evaluates how CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 experienced crunching through the holiday season of 2020. Cyberpunk 2077, one of the most highly anticipated games of the past decade, has already been delayed 3 times. Employees at CD Projekt Red and the polished studio behind the game have reportedly been required to work long hours, including 6-day weeks, for more than a year. This just goes to show how difficult crunching can be for the staff and the employees involved in the video game development industry. Crunch culture is unhealthy, and it affects more than just the family of the company. Like any job, overtime can be exhausting. Now, picture unpaid overtime for what can be 2 weeks or even months at a time. This is what employees have to go through during a crunch period. According to a popular video game journalist explainer, Umar Hansen in 2021 dives into the crunch process. Crunch doesn't just impact developers, it also impacts their family members and eventually employers. Developers with spouses or children see them less often. Family members may resent the time that crunching developers have to spend at work and spend time away from home. This can contribute to the employee turnover and additional training costs that was mentioned before. I found this information to be eye-opening, and it was only until recently I realized how much goes into the development of these games. Now, I would like to go into ways that this could possibly be prevented. Obviously, crunching only happens when something arises, but it's best to be prepared. Some ways to prevent the crunch culture are to create a transparent culture that doesn't make the upper division of the company upset when dates aren't met. Ensuring a safe place for these employees and companies that should establish quarterly checkups to check in on the game's progression and reassess. For example, this happened with one of the newer releases from Naughty Dog, The Last of Us 2. For example, Naughty Dog's lead developer recently told Jason Schreier, a top video game journalist at Kotaku back in 2020, "This game is really good, but at a huge cost to the people." Crunch culture is a large problem in the video game development industry, and I hope that everyone hears this speech can appreciate how much goes into the video game. There's much more that goes into the creation of these games, and the team behind these games deserve the respect and appreciation that comes out of them. Thank you.